I went and saw the Miyazaki film My Neighbor Totoro. I got this at the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, and here you go.
That's cool!
Happy birthday!
Thank you!
My Neighbor Totoro is a Studio Ghibli film written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. If you have been following my channel for some time now, you may have noticed I have a haircut. So if you see any upcoming videos where my hair is longer, keep in mind that those videos were recorded before I had my haircut, and most of those videos have been backlogged because of other projects that I had to place on top priority. I was originally going to hold off on reviewing any of Miyazaki's films until 2020, when his supposed final film is aimed for a theatrical release in Japan in 2020. However, there is a special monthly theatrical event going on called Ghibli Fest, where a select number of Miyazaki films are going to be screened once a month. If you did not see My Neighbor Totoro on June 25th and June 26th, you missed your chance to see My Neighbor Totoro on the big screen. My Neighbor Totoro was released in Japan on 1988, and it is Hayao Miyazaki's fourth feature film. Oh, I almost forgot to put these on. The animation My Neighbor Totoro has that animation standard that was to be expected for the time it was released back in the late 80s from a Studio Ghibli film. My Neighbor Totoro may not look as incredible as Miyazaki's other films that came before it, such as Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind and Castle in the Sky. I am not mentioning the Lupin III film, The Castle Cagliostro, because I have not seen that film yet. That is not to say that the animation in My Neighbor Totoro is bad. In fact, the animation in this entire film is bursting with energy, as well as imagination. This film contains an iconic design for the medium of anime, especially with anime films and Studio Ghibli films, and that is Totoro himself. He became the mascot of Studio Ghibli. If you ever see Studio Ghibli's banner, especially when a film starts with the logo, Totoro is that design that is in Studio Ghibli's films ever since Totoro. However, my favorite thing about My Neighbor Totoro appears in 2 to 3 scenes, and that is the cat bus. I love this thing. It is just a crazy idea in My Neighbor Totoro, and it works. The film score was composed by Joe Hisaishi, who often composes the music for most of Miyazaki's films, and the music in Totoro is very memorable. The opening and ending themes of My Neighbor Totoro, of course, are the catchiest things that this film has music-wise. Before I talk about the voice acting, there is one thing I want to point out. I will not be talking about the Fox dub for this review of My Neighbor Totoro. This is because I have no means of access to My Neighbor Totoro with the Fox dub. The copy I own is the one that was dubbed by Disney. So my apologies if you were looking forward to me talking about the Fox dub and I don't talk about it in this review. When I revisit My Neighbor Totoro in 2020, which is my plan, hopefully, is that I would go more in depth on My Neighbor Totoro, and then I will actually talk about the Fox dub, because I'm going to try really hard to find a way to watch that version. My Neighbor Totoro is a Miyazaki film that you can't go wrong with either subtitled or dubbed. The original Japanese cast is fine on their own, although there is a fascinating subject matter regarding one of the cast members. Satsuki and Mei's father in the original Japanese version is voiced by Shigesato Itoi. In case you don't know who he is the guy responsible for the Mother trilogy, aka Earthbound.
Okay.
As for the English dub of My Neighbor Totoro provided by Disney, Satsuki is voiced by Dakota Fanning, and Mei is voiced by Elle Fanning. Now, the most interesting aspect about these two particular performances is that these two are actually sisters, just like these two characters, which actually makes the performances work off naturally. The characters are quite basic in My Neighbor Totoro, but with the intention that Miyazaki is going for with this film, I am actually okay with the basic characterization in My Neighbor Totoro. The characters we do see the most are Satsuki and Mei, whom are children. So it is nice to see this film through the point of view of these two children, which allows younger audiences to connect to these two characters, which is what this film is catered towards. But of course, with families as well, considering that the father and mother characters are in the film as well. My Neighbor Totoro sometimes gets labeled as a Miyazaki film that has little plot to it. Now, I actually find the simplistic plot of My Neighbor Totoro to be intentional, because what Miyazaki made before My Neighbor Totoro was the Lupin III film, Castle Cagliostro, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, and Castle in the Sky. So we have a fun film, an environmentalist film, and an adventure film. So what Miyazaki made with My Neighbor Totoro was a family-friendly film that is more relaxed than what Miyazaki made before then. There is a plot point in the third act of My Neighbor Totoro that kicks in that some people might find forced. However, before this plot point occurs, there is a lot of time dedicated to the main protagonists, Satsuki and Mei. And I find these characters adorable. I like these characters. So when this plot point kicks in, I actually feel for these characters. That is one of the reasons why I love Hayao Miyazaki as a filmmaker. He has a certain delicacy and he's very meticulous on how he crafts his films. And with My Neighbor Totoro, he can make the most simplistic things very enjoyable. And that is why I know My Neighbor Totoro is a Miyazaki classic as well as a Studio Ghibli classic. That needs to be seen if you have not seen it already. And I do think it is one of the greatest animated films for children. And I am going to give My Neighbor Totoro a 10. If you like this review, feel free to hit the like button. And if you want to follow my channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And as always, you're welcome to leave me any comment if you feel so inclined. And if you have seen My Neighbor Totoro, what did you think of the film? Feel free to share your thoughts of My Neighbor Totoro in the comment section down below as well. Coming soon, I will review a very special film in mid-July. But at the end of July, I will have a review ready for Kiki's Delivery Service. And I will see you in the next review.